Alright, picture this. You wake up, grab your phone, start scrolling like usual, and then suddenly, boom. The most final-looking dummy units of Apple's upcoming foldable iPhone, whether they call it the iPhone Ultra or iPhone Fold, just leaked online. And these aren't the typical blurry prototypes or random concept renders. These actually look finished. Like, this is the real thing, finished. And honestly, Apple seems to have made a few decisions here that are definitely going to divide people. Now when it comes to the iPhone 18 Pro, there's really not a lot happening design-wise. It looks almost exactly like the 17 Pro. Same overall shape, same camera layout, same premium Apple aesthetic. So if you were expecting some massive redesign, this probably isn't it. It's one of those upgrades where unless the old and new phones are sitting side by side, most people wouldn't even notice a difference. Safe, familiar, and very classic Apple. But the foldable model? That's where things start getting interesting. Because Apple didn't just make another folding phone. It feels like they looked at the entire foldable market and thought, okay, but how can we do this differently? And the biggest clue is the button placement. Unlike devices like Huawei's foldables that keep the traditional side button setup, Apple apparently moved the volume buttons to the top edge of the device. Yeah, the top. At first, that honestly sounds like a terrible idea. Like, who actually wanted that? But then you realize this device isn't shaped like a normal smartphone. When unfolded, it's wider and shorter, almost like a mini iPad. And in that tablet mode, your fingers naturally rest closer to the top edge anyway, so changing the volume there actually makes sense. It feels intentional. But the second you fold the phone back into regular phone mode, things get awkward fast. Using those same buttons with one hand suddenly feels like finger gymnastics. So in typical Apple fashion, they may have solved one problem while accidentally creating another. Then there's the power button, which is expected to double as Touch ID. And honestly, that could end up being one of the smartest decisions here. Face ID on a foldable device is complicated, so bringing back Touch ID feels practical instead of nostalgic. But there's also this strange cutout on the side of the phone that almost looks like a 5G antenna, except it's positioned exactly where you'd normally expect the volume rocker to be. The design is super clean, maybe a little too clean, which makes people wonder if Apple is hiding some kind of touch-sensitive control there instead. And knowing Apple, that honestly wouldn't be surprising. But stepping back for a second, this entire design tells us something important about Apple's priorities. They're not trying to build the perfect smartphone that folds. They're trying to create a small iPad that can also function as a phone. The tablet experience clearly comes first, and everything else seems to adapt around that idea. And honestly, that's a pretty bold move. Because with every two-in-one device, there's always a compromise somewhere. You can't make both experiences perfect at the same time. Apple has simply chosen which experience matters more to them. The big question now is whether people are actually going to agree with that decision. Because this could either end up feeling like a genius rethink of foldables, or one of those designs that sounds amazing on paper but becomes frustrating in real life. So if this really is the final design, would you actually buy it? Or is that button placement already a deal breaker for you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.